Welcome to Making It with Terry Woolman, the show that explores the secrets, successes, and strategies for making it in the music biz. And now, here's your host, Terry Woolman.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Making It. I'm your host, Terry Woolman, and this show is about creating a successful life and what that means to my guest today, singer, hit songwriter, gardening expert, and author, Terry Steele. Also my friend, long time. I'd like to share my intention that inspires this podcast. Time passes quickly, and I've learned that we should do what's in our hearts and do it well, without apologies or excuses. I encourage you to create your life and art in your own unique way and express your artistry with joy and with abandon. Be willing to work uncompromisingly for what you believe in. Success will have a better chance of finding you when you live your life with integrity, focus, and passion. Be selfish with your discipline and selfless in your performance. And don't forget to have fun along the way. If you're joining us in our live audience today, we'll be inviting questions and comments during the second half of the show. So make it count and simply request an invite, and we'll bring you up on stage to join the conversation. My guest today is Terry Steele. Terry Steele is a two-time Grammy nominee and two-time ASCAP award-winning songwriter who has toured internationally as a recording artist, touching the hearts and souls of millions of people around the world. As a hit songwriter, Terry has collaborated with megastar artists including Whitney Houston, Dionne Warwick, Starship, Hiroshima, Patti Labelle, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, The Spinners, Barry White, the Pointer Sisters, Arif Mardin, Natalie Cole, George Duke, and saxophonist Richard Elliott. As the principal writer of the blockbuster hit Here and Now, recorded by the late Luther Vandross, Steele garnered a Grammy nomination for Best Rhythm and Blues Song in 1990. He has been a staff songwriter at EMI Music, SBK Records, Warner Chappell, USA, CBM Entertainment, Europe, and Sony Music, South Africa. Terry has recorded 3 albums as a solo artist and 6 albums as lead singer for the renowned band Hiroshima. His new Recipes for Life cookbook is entitled, Where Do We Grow From Here? Terry Steele, welcome to Making It.
Hello, Terry. Love your name, right?
Well, it's easy to remember.
Oh, that's what I'm so glad to be here with you. I'm serious. You are my brother, and I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. And so I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of friends named Terry.
I don't either, really. Yeah. I know, wow, my goddaughter's name is Terry, but she was actually kind of named after me. So, but that's about it. And you?
Yep. Well, that's plenty.
There you go. There you go.
I want to start this conversation with a quote from somebody who I've had the pleasure of working with. The supreme pleasure, and somebody who you have as well, who's a dear friend of yours, Dionne Warwick. And she wrote a quote about your book, which, by the way, is right here. And it's a gardening book and a cookbook.
Yes.
But it's actually so much more than that. And we'll be talking about that as well. But it's a book of life, just like your music is. Yeah.
That's what my intent was. So, yeah.
Well, definitely received. Here's what Dionne has to say about the book and about you. Not only is Terry a great singer, he is also a master gardener. Fresh vegetables are the way to good health, and Terry shows us how to do it. Dionne Warwick. It's so kind of her.
I love, as they say, love me some Dionne.
Yeah.
And it was, when I was putting it together, I reached out to a few of my friends and people that I just totally love and respect. But actually, I was getting ready to reach out to Miss Warwick, Mama D, and she happened to call me to just check in. And I guess she heard it in my voice. She said, "So what do you need, baby?" But thank you.
What do you need, baby? Yeah.
So
that's a true friend.
It is. I mean, without question. And in about 5 seconds, I had that quote from her. And
right.
I just truly cherish her. And and our relationship, it's been life changing and career making for me. So I just really love and respect Dionne Warwick.
One of the things that's interesting, and I know this about you because of our friendship, I'm plugging a cable in as we speak.
There you go.
Excuse that.
Make it work.
Yeah. What, you work, as many of my guests do, and as I do, with a lot of very well-known artists. But, one thing that's interesting, like with you, with Miss Warwick, with Patti Labelle, with some other artists who you've worked with, you've had long and very dear friendships with them. And
Yes.
the music and the career expands from that place. It's not the other way around.
Amen. Exactly. I've been really blessed in my career at an early point in my career, to meet and develop relationships with some of the greats, from Barry White. This is before I had written a note or really sang professionally. My dad had a furniture business and interior design store
in Los Angeles, correct?
In Los Angeles, and right. Along with the Jacksons were his clients early on when they were the Jackson 5.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie Cole and her mom, Mrs. Cole, was clients of my mom and dad's,
mm-hmm.
and Barry White. And when my dad met with Barry, he said, "My son wants to get into this music business stuff. Will you talk with him?"
Mm-hmm.
And Barry opened up his home, his heart to me. He invited me over, and I will never forget. I sat down with Barry White. I was like,
How old were you?
Goodness.
How old were you at this time?
Oh, maybe 16.
Wow.
17.
Very impressionable and ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wanted to get really energized and excited. Mm-hmm. And he sat me down, invited me over. We sat down, and he said, the first thing out of his mouth was, "Now, this is called show business. And if you don't take care of the business, there will be no show." Like, oh my God. And it just resonated with me, the way he spoke it. I have never forgotten it.
Yeah.
And that is one of the principles that I started my career and continue to this day. Take care of the business.
Yeah.
Is just as important as the show.
Mm-hmm.
And he's right. If you don't take care of the business, things won't be in place to do the show. So,
right.
And then Dionne Warwick and Patti Labelle, and I met them once I started. But it was the same thing. Once I met them, they turned into mentors and people that I really could go to about maintaining my voice. Mm-hmm. And how to dissect a song before I sing it. Dionne Warwick was key in that. She said, even if you don't write it, whenever you get a song, take the lyrics, read the lyrics, and find something in those lyrics and make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to you? And then deliver it from that point. Mm-hmm. I don't care who's recorded it previously or whatever, make it real for you. And that's another thing that I've just cherished and always, anytime even now when I get a song and I want to put it in the show or whatever, how is this real for me? How can I really speak my truth in this song? So love them.
You've had some magnificent advice, mentors, magnificent mentors, but gems of knowledge and experience that they've been so gracious to share with you.
Yeah,
those are things that many professionals don't even learn years into their career. And the fact that you were hearing these very important lessons about the music business, not just both being a creative artist, but also handling your business,
Yes.
was really so. I can see why you've been so successful. Having guidance like that along the way and not resisting it, embracing it, because these are
Yes.
our these icons, the people that we look up to that are making magnificent art, are giving you
Exactly.
their process.
Yes. I mean, you can't get any better
Yeah.
than these legends. And the one reason I truly just like paused and listened and took it in, these are proven um, vocalists and artists. I mean,
Right.
they have so many Grammys and been through so many experiences with music. I even
Mhm.
know, I was talking with Miss Dionne, and when she started out, how she was in that era where a lot of us of this color weren't really allowed into places, and yet you had to perform, and the grace and the to maintain your dignity and yet go on stage and know when to speak and when to be quiet.
Mhm. Not that
And
many
so
years ago.
and they paved the way for all of that
Right.
for us, for
Right.
all of us. So I'm really grateful. Yes.
We're talking about you as a young singer, and I do know that you studied with Seth Riggs,
Yes.
and then you also went on to get a master's degree and a PhD in ethnomusicology.
Yeah.
So I know that you are educated and informed. But coming up, growing up as a young kid, like when you were 16, were you already studying vocally? Did you have technique, or did you just have natural talent at that point?
Well, I grew up in the church. So,
So you grew up singing in
yes,
the
I grew up
church.
singing from
That's everything you need right there.
as far back as man,
Yeah.
before I could even almost stand, I was
Hmm.
singing
Yeah.
in church. But you know what? I really did not take that outside of church
Hmm.
until I graduated. Um, and that was around the time when my dad said, well, if you really want to pursue this, you need to really start studying. So I
Hmm.
didn't really study until around eight. Well, I always took piano. My
Hmm.
parents had me in piano when I was 4 or 5,
And were you
barely
writing
able
as a
to.
kid? I was making up things. I didn't know that I was writing, but
Yes, yes,
okay.
yes. My first song, I still remember it. Uh, I wish I had my little keyboard here, but it's real simple. But it was every day. My heart is filled with love. Every day, my heart is filled with joy and peace and happiness and love.
That's fantastic.
And then I would take songs that melodies I heard on commercials and just
Sure.
create lyrics to them.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love
I
that.
haven't thought about that in forever. Look at you. But I have. I'm like, wow.
I wanted to ask you something because we are friends, and we speak, and we spoke in
Yes.
preparation for this conversation as well. Um, but you had mentioned the importance of creating a physical space for daily prayer and meditation. And
Yes.
I know that ties into everything, certainly this book and where it came from and the purpose and intention of it. But just in your daily life, um, not just in your daily life, that's a daily practice. Could you talk about that, how and why
Oh, wow.
that works for you?
It, my faith and my belief, positive belief that things will get better was instilled in me at an early age. Now, we all grow up and need to explore and de- develop our own sense of being.
Hmm.
So I did stray away from all of that just to discover myself.
Right.
I was brought up in the Pentecostal church, and for years, that was my life. Church, Sunday school, church, and then coming back home. And when I became a teenager, I graduated and had a new little car. And so I went off and did what teenagers do. But when you live outside of where you're really grounded, I think you will always come back. So later in life, I really have found that starting my day out with prayer and meditation grounds me, and it prepares me for life in general. When I didn't do it, those years I did not practice that daily, I was wondering why my days were so chaotic.
Mhm.
You know, I would start off okay, but then by the end of the day, I'm just, oh. And then getting into this business, and the older I have gotten, I mean, it's everything. Even this morning, preparing for this interview and everything, I invite God in his presence, and just also I believe in meditation, just clearing my mind and preparing myself for the day. It's any problems that come up or any situations that come up throughout the day, that part for me, that part of meditating and praying really evens it all out. And I'm able to, okay, think about it, breathe, relax. And it's really stress management, because as a singer, this is I found out later in life, that the stress affects me in my voice, the weakest place, the place I really use. So when I'm even if I get too nervous and tight, my voice goes. So I really had to find a way to calm it down. Even before shows, if I'm too nervous and too excited, ah, it tightens up and I'm not able to hit my notes. And then that even makes me more tense. Oh, so I had to really find a way to find peace.
Right.
And meditation and prayer is essential to that. And when I was doing my garden, I really made a special place. I have two places, honestly. In my garden, there's a corner in my garden, and I actually call it my prayer and meditation corner,
hmm
and my corner of serenity. And I, every morning when the sun is nice and permitting, I
hmm
go out and I'll read a positive word, something inspirational, and meditate and balance out my day. And when it's not, I have a spot in my office here,
hmm
that black table back there. You notice I have uh, the Bibles on it and a lot of my reading. And I wasn't even preparing to show you all that, but it's my little private spot.
Well, thanks for
But I'll
taking
go
us deep
there and
into your
I'll
home.
and I'll
Yeah.
ground myself.
hmm
So yeah, it's important. It's everything. Really is.
I want to read the opening line to your book, and then let's talk about the book, and then I do want to talk about songwriting as well,
Beautiful.
because
Yes.
I'm so curious as a fellow writer, your process. But the book, once upon a time, amidst a global pandemic, sat 3 95-year-old mason jars in a cupboard. You had me at that right there. Can you share that little bit of that story and
Yes,
about the mason jars?
like you said, this book is more than just gardening to me, but it's what I've discovered gardening and being close to the earth will really do for you and bring into your life. And I started the book off because that is a true story. The pandemic had just happened, and for years I had seen these three mason jars. They were old and dusty, filled with, I think one was, what I could make out was pears, and one was peaches and plums or prunes. And I had always seen them there. And so when the pandemic happened and we all had time to clean out things and rearrange. So I was in the pantry rearranging, and I knew they belonged to my mom. So I went to my mom and I said, "What are these jars about? Can I throw them out? They've been here forever." She's like, "What? Throw them out? No." So when I said that to her, she started to tell me what they were about, and it really is our family history. When she uh, was first married um, to my dad back in, I don't even know when it was, in like I think the 50s or whatever. When they were born in Alabama, so she came back to the States. When she moved here to Los Angeles, I mean, she wanted something from home. So she
Right.
brought these jars that her dad, he was a master at canning fruit and vegetables. He was a gardener and all that. So, but she wanted something from home. So she brought those jars of his preserves uh, to bring a little piece of Alabama and her dad with her.
Right.
And she just, that opened up a floodgate of everything else of our history of farming and gardening.
Well, it's so interesting to me. I mean, I was just so captivated by your first couple of pages because you also wrote these three jars had been a fixture in the pantry for as long as I could remember. So long, in fact, that they had seemingly become invisible. They were seen yet unseen, just as obvious things sometimes are. Beautiful awareness, and because I certainly can relate to that. We all can. But as I read on, I discovered things about you that I never knew personally. And is that your paternal grandfather was a sharecropper, and so was his
Yes,
father and his father's father. And it seemed that,
yes.
as you say, it seemed I had innocently poured water on the dry roots of our family tree and had caused it to blossom right before my eyes. You're such a beautiful writer, Terry.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. When I was sitting down with my publisher and editor, they're like, "Wow, it's so descriptive." And I think that really comes from songwriting,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
being able to uh, put in a few words and describe something that um, is real and heartfelt, but say it in a way that people will hear it. It's one thing to say "I love you," and then there's another thing to say, I love Luther's line. Um, some I speak to myself and I say, "Oh my," in a lot of ways, I'm a lucky guy.
Oh, right.
It's like you
Yeah.
have this song, "Any Love,"
Mm-hmm.
but now all you need is a chance to try any love. And that speaks to loneliness, how you can be lonely in a big world and around a lot of people that are admirers and are attentive to you. But if you're not feeling that love, all of that isn't really, it doesn't touch you, it doesn't touch your soul. And instead of just saying, sometimes I'm lonely, he painted that narrative that's just, that's why I love singing that song because I can relate to that. I think we all can. And
Yeah.
that's another thing about lyrics and books or whatever. If you express it, we all pretty much go through the same range of emotions and loves and loss, but it's the way we tap into that feeling that others actually receive, and it's,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's me.
Right.
I've been there. So
Well, speaking to that, let's jump into songwriting for a moment,
Yes.
because your words and melodies have touched millions of people, which must feel amazing to you, and incredibly
It's a
rewarding.
blessing.
Yeah, it is. It's a
Really.
blessing on every level, from you being the vessel for these words to come through,
Amen.
and
Oh, I love that.
these melodies to come through, to me being on the receiving end of your beautiful music, and with all the incredible artists, including yourself, who have recorded your songs. So let me ask you, just because I can, because we're here right now together. This is not the only song that you've written. You've had a lot of major hits, but the one I want to ask you about is Here and Now.
Yes.
I want to know the backstory. I want to know what you were feeling when you wrote the beginning of this song. One look in your eyes, and there I see just what you mean to me. Here in my heart, I believe your love is all I ever need. Holding you close through the night. I need you.
It's going to really sound kind of funny, but I was really young when I wrote that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really young, because before that was one of the first songs I ever tried to professionally write.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was in a group of, I think I chose 3 or 4 songs and got money from my dad. And went into the studio and I was going to do a demo.
Yeah.
And so Here and Now was one of those 3 songs. I have never told this part of the story. And
Good.
in writing all of these songs, first of all, I truly believe what you said earlier is that, you know, you're the vessel.
Yeah.
I truly believe their songs and lyrics and melodies are up there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and if we can really quiet ourselves enough to tap into that, it's really already there. Sometimes when I have my blocks, you know, now as a writer, it's like, wow, let me calm myself again, meditate, center, because it's there. You know, the melodies are there, and we're receptive to receive them. So, but at that point in my life, I was so young, I didn't really know. So what I did is my parents always represented what my idea of love should be. So I think it's so important for families and mixed families, whatever, but you show your kids love and
Mm-hmm.
respect for one another. I'm not non-traditional marriages, traditional, whatever it is, just show your partner love and respect because your kids are watching. And as a child, that's what I saw growing up. I saw my dad respect my mom. I saw my mom respect my dad. And so when I wanted to write a love song, I wasn't in love. I I wrote about their love and the love that I knew they had for each other and the love I knew they had for God.
Mm-hmm.
And those lyrics just flowed. And even the love they had for me. You know, my mom, even this day, and she's not around. She's 88 and but when I look in my mom's eyes, I see love. I see care. I see um, all of her still wishes for my life. And that type of love I wrote about in the Here
Yeah.
and Now.
Yeah.
You know, it's when I look at in their eyes, I see love that they have for me. And sometimes, again, it's going to sound kind of crazy, but as a child, sometimes when your mom or been sick or whatever, she would hold me all night long if she had to. So it's not just about this romantic sexual love.
Mm-hmm.
The key to my writing truly is I always try to write, even in the beginning, a general love that you can, okay, if you're in love with someone, then that applies to you. you'll take it there. I hope, even reading my books or my songwriting, that the listener or the reader is able to, like I do with all the songs I sing, read it and then make it their own, apply it to their own life. And so that's Here and Now. It was written about my mom and dad.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I've always been curious from the moment I heard that song. Is just, where did that come from? Because it's so that it's just so beautifully clear and simple and elegant and hits the mark.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
The
And
very
I don't
first
take
time.
that lightly, because
Yeah.
I respect your opinion and what you're saying, and I receive it. Thank you.
Well, I'm not alone. That's one of the ones that you touched millions of people around the world with your words and melody. But so again, thanks for sharing that story. And the interesting thing, you're talking about that love, that kind of love, and you still have your mom. She's around. She's in your life, but you're also a dad. You've got 2 kids, and you've had the opportunity to instill that understanding and relationship with your spirituality, but also just with being, your love of God, your love of your family, your love of your friends, your love of and gratitude for being alive. You've planted that seed as a gardener and a father with them, but they also get to look back a generation. They get to still to this day experience it through your mom's eyes as well. So that tradition, and that blessing gets to be carried through. That must be wonderful, being a dad and having a great role model in how to do that.
It was, and it is the greatest. I said was I started because they're older now and they're off, and barely get them to call me. No,
Right.
I love them both. Tyler's in LMU, Loyola.
Yeah.
Her first year of college there. Bryson is junior at in high school.
Fantastic.
So they're great. But when they were small, it was such a joy to introduce them to things I loved, but to give them the freedom to like it or not. And but to see things that I've like even grown accustomed to, the joy in their eyes when they do, oh wow, it was a garden. That was really a way for me to bring the kids together and for our little quality time together, to go in the garden outdoors in the sun and plant seeds and weed and water, and they really it gave us time to bond. And one thing my dad, I really tried to pass on to them, and my mom still does it, and I asked my mom about this later with me, and so I was gonna do the same thing with the kids. And I noticed, I don't care what kind of day she had, when she walked into the room or after work and saw me and I have a brother and a sister, a younger brother, older sister. But when she saw us kids and my dad, their face would light up, and we would be like, they made us feel like we were the most important thing of the day, not knowing they had maybe had a horrible day, but they never projected that onto us. And I know with my little lovelies and my babies, I wanted to give them that same experience of, no matter what was going on, I always tried to give them that love, that light in my eyes. I'm sorry. What is that? On the screen. But yeah, so I mean, it's just been a joy. Yeah. So my kids are my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And watching them grow, and the gardening was just a wonderful experience. My mom also in her 80s is out there with us. It's a family thing. that brings us all together, all generations.
Well,
So
let's
I
talk
love
about this book, because this book
Yes.
is about life. It's about growing vegetables and fruit, and it's about being healthy, and
Yes.
and it's about some of your favorite recipes, and they're really cool recipes. I don't even know where to begin, which one to start with. My wife Melanie and I were looking through, and you just posted something about some salmon bacon that we need
Yeah.
to talk about later.
I know everybody's like that. I just posted that for Fat Tuesday, right?
Yeah, right.
And they're like, but you didn't put the recipe on it.
So
But
hold up the
yes,
book for a moment. You've got a copy there, right?
I sure do. Yes.
What do you want people to know about it? And it's a really great cover as well.
Well, you know what? Where do we grow from here is the title.
So explain the
And
title.
that sums up the book for me
Mm-hmm.
because although it is a gardening and a recipe book, um, but it was birthed long before the pandemic, but I really honed it and got really into it during the pandemic because the pandemic caused me to reflect on my life and just everything that's gone on. And I'm at an age where um, I was getting ready. I'm 60 now, but during the pandemic, I was getting ready to turn 60, 58, 59. And I was, us guys, when we get to this point, well, I should be here and I should have done this. And the pandemic really caused me to relax, think
Right.
about what I wanted to change about my life, what I loved about my life, what I future aspirations were, where realistically the age I am and where I am, where do I go from here? And then it turned into asking myself the question, how am I going to grow from this experience of being locked down and of the choices that I had made, good and bad? And as it relates to gardening, that really spoke to me too, because, well, are we going to come out of this time, this season of, I call it transition of from the pandemic into back opening up? Where, how are we going to treat our bodies, treat one another? We've had time to actually social distance and not where we it wasn't socially acceptable to come together and all this stuff. So where are we? What was all that about? It just wasn't. I don't believe things just happen in the universe,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that there's a reason and a purpose. And I would love to, from that experience, grow and health wise, mentally, spiritually, grow from here.
Right.
Yes. And that is really what the book is about. What are we going to start planting uh, to increase our health? How are we going to eat better and think better and love better?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I want this book to do is to, although it is suggestions on what we can plant and eat to boost our immune systems
Mm-hmm.
and to keep us healthy, to fight off just any kind of virus and disease. And it's all about what you eat, so to speak. And it really is. We are what we eat.
Right.
So if we could plant healthy foods, and with the way the markets and prices of eggs and
Yeah,
food,
you have to take out a second on your house to buy a carton of eggs.
it's like That
It's a
I have a
reminder.
chapter.
Well, and by the way, you know, even for people who don't have backyards, you can still grow
Yes.
plants. You can grow herbs. You can grow plants in pots in your house. We do.
And and actually tomato plants, you can grow those indoors.
Right.
And there's little techniques to um, um, I lost my word.
It's okay.
Uh, um,
Just for giving them light and
yeah,
in the environment that they need.
when you pollinate them.
Right. Okay.
Certain things have to be pollinated, but if you like tap the flowers, just shake it a little bit, do that, and keep it next to an open window, fruit will pollinate and it will develop. And so it doesn't matter if you're in a small apartment, a large apartment, a tiny house, a mansion, there's always room to have life. And I believe plants are life. I really do.
Well, you had said this the other day. I mean, we are so connected to plants because we give them carbon monoxide. They turn it into oxygen and give it right back to us. It's so similar to when we're on stage performing. We give an energy out and we receive energy back, and there's a similar, very symbiotic relationship with plants that happen whether you care or not. But what a gift that's happening every single day. That if you, like you said, slow down and just take it in, boy, that's a lot. You know, just thinking about what's there. You know, and how we I always say, you know, we're all in this together. You know, but we really are genetically, well biologically.
We're so connected, and we are in this together. And I think throughout the busyness of life, we sometimes become separated, or we forget what is real, and what we should be really striving, the relationships we should be striving to maintain. Sometimes, as in the beginning of the book, is right in front of your face, but you see it so often you start to not see it.
Right.
And those are actually sometimes the relationships that we take for granted are the ones that are stabilizing us, and we don't realize it until it's gone, and then we're like, oh.
In once again, in your words, they were seen yet unseen, just as obvious things sometimes are. You know, and it's really about, like you say, prayer, meditation, awareness, healthy living, healthy thinking. You know, provides that level of clarity as well. By the way, I want people to know where to get the book. So one place is your website, terrysteelemusic.com, correct?
Yes.
Where else can they go to get the book, or is that the place?
Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon.com. Just type in, where do we grow from here? It's hard copy, and paperback, but you can order it that way, or it's on Kindle.
Great.
So if you want to download it onto your Kindle platform, it's there. It's just released, but I'm getting ready to do an audio book also.
Fantastic.
So that'll
with
be
you
out
narrating, I hope.
Yes.
Good.
And I'm going to put music in it. You know, the book, sprinkled throughout the chapters, I have QR codes.
Yeah.
That take you to, some of it is music, some is gardening, some are little happy things. They're not, all of it's just, you know, just to tie it together, to give it life. I wanted the book to be interactive, and if I really, some things that just really brings me joy, I want you to see that and experience that with me.
Yeah, it's really a great bonus, a Scooby snack, you know, to reading your book is that it's interactive, you know, instead of static. I can go and look at and hear things that you want me to know. It's not limited to words on paper, which are, again, beautiful words because you're a lyricist, you're a writer.
Thank you.
I wanted to, and by the way, that sweatshirt that you're wearing, that's Steele sweatshirt. Where do I get me one of those?
I know, shameless plug, but
No,
I
it's all
just
right.
started doing these and my little merch.
Good.
And it's available on my website,
Okay.
terrysteelemusic.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also doing caps, and for gardening, I'm doing aprons and
Nice.
also cooking um, mugs. And so we're going to just kind of get it going.
That's great. And people can also hear your music there as well.
Yes. My
and
CDs are available.
absolutely. And also,
download.
I want to remind everybody, which I've been doing pretty much in every show this past year or so, go to Spotify and go follow and subscribe to Terry Steele. Go subscribe to me, Terry Wallman.
Yes.
It's the way that it's a free way and a very simple way to support artists to continue being able to record music. So I just want to, if you are curious to hear Terry's music, go there today and just hit subscribe, and you won't regret it. And go to my page as well. And we both thank you for that.
I'm telling you, I'm so excited about your new project. I really am. I really am.
Yeah.
I love the cover. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Yeah. It's going to be released March 17th. Surface, the new record. Yeah. I'm very excited.
Yes.
Thanks for mentioning that.
Oh, my pleasure.
I want to circle back because we're in your writing room, in your office, but you've got your piano there. Again, I had mentioned earlier that you have a PhD in ethnomusicology. So, and you've traveled the world, your entire adult life, touring, doing concerts, recording, writing. But you were in a room, you also mentioned like your Bible is on your desk and some other really interesting things that, we have a private little glimpse into your sanctuary, essentially.
Oh, I know.
And
should have cleaned it up a little more.
Yeah. But you are surrounded by a lot of very interesting items in the room. And one thing that's fascinating to me about you and really kind of fun is that you collect instruments and gizmos and gadgets and cultural art from around the world. And you've got a private collection of over 200 musical instruments and authentic tribal ritual objects as well.
Yes.
Can you just grab something and show it to us that's special to you or interesting?
Well, this I grabbed this one earlier, and this is really special to me. This is a Mayan fire flute. I don't know if you can really see it, but
is that clay?
Hand carved. It's
Wood
clay.
Or clay.
It's clay, and here, I'm not going to do it now, but you actually light this, and fire comes out of it from here, and as you blow it, it warms the instrument, the clay, and it actually changes the pitch. And it's so many. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas to blow on this, and I I get them because I love the way that they're pieces of art, so I'm not really playing them, but it's a replica of from the Mayan temples, of an artifact that they found in the temples. So this is one of my prized possessions.
That's fantastic.
I have didgeridoos from Australia, some things from Egypt,
Africa, also Japan.
Oh, back
there it is.
there.
The back corner. It's a Kyoto?
The corner there.
How do you say it?
That's. I don't want to get all discombobulated, but that was a gift from June Kuramoto, one of her kotos, and she was like, "Oh, you're collecting?" Well, and she autographed it for me, and so that's another one of my prized possessions.
It's beautiful.
I have a guitar here from Africa. I don't know if it's a guitar. I don't even know what it's really called, but
Oh, it's got a
I
gourd.
love this.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can I feel like I'm in show and tell at school,
it's
but
great.
but yeah, I have. If I see when I'm out, one of the wonderful things I love to do when I'm traveling, as even if it's with a show or whatever, is during the my downtime
Hmm.
between sometimes it's just between sound check. I want to go into the community and try the food. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness. And into the more into the not the touristy places, but out back,
Right,
the real communities.
right.
And
Where do the locals
oh
go? Right.
yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes. I just love it. And so I've collected this for what, 20 years, or over
Yeah.
20 years of touring. So
Thanks
it's
for
one of my
showing.
loves, my
Yeah,
little
thanks for
secret
showing some of
loves.
your prized pieces of art. I appreciate that. I want to. Can you share a story that you told me about? Really, it's Arif Mardin had talked to you about this. He was a big influence on you about full production demos versus piano vocal demos because you've done both for many years.
One of those life lessons in music. And then it really did teach me about just life.
Hmm.
But I think maybe you don't know, but Arif was just the master producer from generations of great artists from back in even I think the Sinatra days and stuff. He
Yeah.
was the man, right?
Hmm.
And so I sent him a song, a track, and wanted him to place it on an artist. And he uh, loved the track. He said, I had done this huge production on it where I had the strings and I had done this big arrangement. And I turned it in, and um, he called me back and he said, I love the arrangement and I love the song, but I need you to go back in the studio and just send me a piano and vocal. And I want you to sing it. Don't, some of the things I was hiring, if it was for a female artist, I would hire the top female singer to sing the demo so it would sound like the artist. And he stopped me from doing all of that. And he says, when you send me a song, send a piano vocal only.
Right, because he wanted to hear the song,
The song.
not the arrangement, not the production,
None of that,
the
just
story.
the song.
Right.
So I would, we as writers and producers, I want you to hear it the best way. And so we spend all this money and do all these things and add all this stuff. And it was like, strip it down,
Hmm.
forget all of that. Send me, I mean, really, a basic. He didn't mind if it was recorded live and a piano. That's
Right.
it. That's what he wanted. And
But
the chord
that's old
charts. He
school,
went,
right? The Brill
yeah,
Building. People would walk in and sing their songs.
he wanted
There'd be
the,
a piano or a guitar in the office, and you would go in and sing it.
and that's it.
Hmm.
Yes. And I'm not the best piano player. So, I was even like trying to get, the greats to like play it for me. And he's like,
Hmm.
no, just give me the chords, the
Hmm.
vocal.
And
Oh,
isn't it true that you actually ended up with a big hit song that became a hit because you went back and just sent in after sending the full production, you went back and did a piano vocal and sent it in, and that's what got the song placed.
that is what got it placed. And
Yeah.
that was um, with Patti Labelle, actually.
Wow.
And I had presented a demo that I thought um, he would like to hear for her. And I did all this stuff on it, and he's like, no, I want it stripped down. And when I stripped it down, I got the song placed. Before then, it's a great song in my opinion,
Sure.
but it wasn't what he, as the producer arranger, was looking for. He just wanted to hear it clean and to see oh, what he did with it. I should have been ashamed to send him what I thought was great. Oh man. I don't
By
know.
the way, I
Listen
wanted
to You
to.
Save My Life. He produced it. Oh, and that was
Which
a
one was
joy
it?
too, because he invited me down to sing backgrounds on it,
Hmm.
on his arrangement of the song I wrote for her, You Saved My Life. It was wonderful.
Mm.
So I got to record with him and her and
Fantastic.
be on her record.
Wow. By the way, we have some live people in the audience with us. If anybody wants to jump in on the conversation, if you've got a question or comment for Terry, just
Beautiful.
request to come on stage and we'll bring you on for a moment and you can say hi.
Wonderful.
I wanted to talk about while we're here we go. We do have somebody on stage. Hang on a moment. Hey, Melanie. Melanie, are you there? We can't hear you. Well, you're welcome to come back in a moment and we'll bring you back on stage when I see you. I wanted to ask you about publishing because you've had major publishing deals. You even moved out of LA to go live.
Yes.
Where were you? Were you in
Philadelphia?
In Philadelphia.
Yes.
To write for years. So you've had major success. You've experienced the ups and downs of publishing, and I'm wondering what your favorite thing or least favorite thing was about having a publishing deal, and also what happens after the success goes away. How do you maneuver through that? Hi, Melanie. Welcome back.
Wow. That's a big question.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. I think one thing I love that being with a publishing company did, I was introduced and invited to write with really major artists and writers that on my own I would never have been able to just call up and meet.
So access.
Yeah, access.
Right.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yes, wonderful word and principle that I loved. Gave me great access to the songwriting community and the entertainment business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know if I have the least favorite thing. I think I learned early on, before I present a song, to really make sure that I was satisfied with it. I think that sometimes when I presented a song, I can only speak for me, and you have so many voices on your baby,
Mm-hmm.
or on opinions of what it should be, it can confuse you, and at times it made me lose the purpose or what my vision for the song, and trying to please others and give them what they think the song should be. So, but once I worked through that, once I worked through the process of believing in the song, I can still accept criticism and professional
Mm-hmm.
tweaking or whatever, but it doesn't affect me where, oh, the song is no good.
Right.
I don't think and actually, I didn't write with her, but I met Dionne Warwick
Mm.
through the EMI days and all of that. And I was actually recording and doing. I wanted to do a song of hers, and I met with her, and we were doing some demo work, whatever, as a vocalist. And uh, she said that she doesn't really judge other people's work and and do that because although she's a great writer, but she didn't feel like she was that's just my opinion.
Mhm.
And you have to learn as a songwriter that everybody has an opinion, but you have to be true to yourself and your craft. So, um, other than that, though, publishing was great.
Mhm.
It taught me the behind the things of royalty, collecting your royalties and ASCAP, BMI, all that stuff. To really, I'm always want to know where if I'm supposed to get a nickel, give me a nickel.
Exactly.
And so I'm having. I'm saying that people want to join. I don't know what to do. So
It's okay. You can leave that alone. By the way, Melanie, are you with us?
Can you hear me?
We can. Hi,
Oh, my
welcome
goodness.
to the show.
Hi, fellas. Two of my
hey,
favorite Terrys. Congratulations, Terry Steele.
love you, Melanie. Oh my goodness, I love you.
I love you so much, and I'm so happy for you. You're so inspiring. And I started reading your cookbook from cover to cover, which I happen to, we love cookbooks. I've given away cookbooks, but we probably have about 30. And it's such a pleasure to add yours to our collection. And thank you so much for including me in your book. I'm so honored and so touched. I was blown away completely for you to add me to your acknowledgments. I don't know what I did, but I'm so I'm just delighted to be a part of it and to watch you grow,
There's
literally.
my sweetie. Look,
Oh my gosh.
I love that photo.
Is
And
that a riot? It's such a riot. Well, we were just being so goofy. And to anyone who's listening, I'm sure that most of you, like us, were completely stir crazy during the early days, especially of the pandemic. I mean,
yes,
it was like everything sort of came to a screeching halt in our industry. And, I'm a little goofy anyway, but I'm sure I had serious cabin fever when I took that picture.
no, but that is priceless to me. And we started that at home,
Yeah,
my edible garden
yeah,
while at home.
right. On
And
Facebook.
you were one of the first founding people that signed up and signed on and not just watched, but made some great suggestions. You did
Thank
this
you.
egg carton as a seed starter, as
Yeah,
to plant your seedlings. I still
yes.
use that. That's brilliant. I love
Oh
it.
my gosh. Well, I wish I could take credit for it, but yeah, it's biodegradable. So how great that you don't have to, you don't have to do anything fancy. Everyone has an egg carton laying around, even now that they're like $1,000 a dozen.
Right?
But you have, yeah, it's such a clever idea. I love to try to find, new things to do with plants. I've learned so much from you, and I know I know you popped by the house the other day, and maybe you saw a few of our little plants hanging out. But I tell you, people have to realize it's so important to have live things around. Not everyone can
Yes.
an animal, a dog, cat, goldfish, whatever, but everyone can have plants. And you just are so inspiring with how you present that and teach us so much how to eat what we grow. And well, I'm on the late freight. We haven't been able to do a garden yet. An edible garden. I need a lot of help. But
But
because we live at the
and
beach and it's not always hot enough. Like I love tomatoes, but haven't had success with tomatoes. And anyway, I digress. But it's just your book your inspiration and your intention were in perfect alignment with the crisis that we all were encountered with. And I just am so happy that you listened to your muse and you followed your heart and you saw this through to the beautiful creation of this book. It's so beautiful, and so are you. And I just want to say thank you for everything you've offered us and brought to the
Oh,
table,
thank
literally.
you. Thank you. I'm serious. I just love you. And you are so inspiring to me.
Oh my
Seriously. Just
goodness.
your energy, your love. You and Terry, just mwah, mwah,
Mwah, back,
Thank
mwah.
you.
mwah.
And I'm going to be making, as soon as I'm going on a little trip this weekend, but as soon as I get home next week, I can't wait to make your tomato soup. Huh, Terry?
Oh,
Yeah, we're starting with that one.
and I
Man.
do it without heavy creams, and
Yeah.
really the secret to that, to making it thick and rich,
Yeah.
those potatoes.
Man.
Yeah,
It
we
sounds
noticed that.
crazy, but
That's like that's a hero ingredient. I would never have thought of that.
don't omit those potatoes.
No, sir. Oh, no, no, no. We're going to follow it to the letter. And before I go, I'm going to say, Joyeux Mardi Gras. I'm a New Orleans native. My whole family, I'm born and raised in New Orleans. So happy Fat Tuesday, everybody, because tomorrow we repent. It's Ash Wednesday, so get it all out of your system. And I'm gonna need to go make those deviled eggs. And we don't have anything fancy to cook as far as Creole cuisine tonight, but my heart is with my people in NOLA. And thank you for honoring that. Are you from New Orleans or no?
No, but
Oh,
I love all the different cultures and
yeah.
traditions, and so
Well, you sure
I'm
cook
all
like a
about
New
Fat
Orleanian. I'm gonna
Tuesday
tell you that
and
right
Ash
now.
Wednesday.
Yes, Lord. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, Terry, God bless you. You're just an absolute gift. And it's just
Love
a
you.
joy to know you and to call you brother, friend.
Thanks, Melanie.
Love
Thanks
you.
for joining
Love you,
us.
Melanie. Oh, that
Hey,
was beautiful.
so Terry, speaking of tomatoes, you mentioned earlier that you can grow them indoors. Do we need a grow light for that? What are the requirements?
The grow
Your
light will
tips.
help.
Okay. Keep it by an
Really,
open window?
if you have it by a nice sunny window and
Mm-hmm.
let it get some air,
Okay.
if you can crack the window during the day on the sunny days, it will take, and make sure, don't overwater. That's another little thing, to make sure you're watering properly. And start with a cherry tomato plant, the small ones.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start out trying to do the heirloom ones, because that's a little bit tricky, or can
Mm-hmm.
be. But they actually have indoor seeds. I know they're of the cherry tomato.
That's so interesting. That makes sense. So there's
Yeah.
specific seeds.
Yes, that you can purchase to grow indoor.
Got it.
But yeah,
Thanks for that tip.
and like I said, when it flowers, it's really kind of self-pollinating. But if you just tap the flower petals onto each other,
Oh, you
it will
literally
produce.
touch them to each other.
Yeah,
Okay.
when you do that, sometimes you can damage it. So I would just bring them close and
Bring them close. Right.
yeah.
Put them in the
Yeah.
same conversation.
There you go. Right.
And then leave it to them to take it from there. Flower? I'd like you to meet Flower.
There you go. Just
Right.
introduce them and then
Just
let
introduce
them be.
That's a great tip. Hey, I want to ask you about a couple of your credits before we get to our closing questions. I was going down your Google rabbit hole of all the songs that you've written and the people that you've performed with and sung with, including this great duet with Patti Labelle, which you can listen to at Terry's Spotify page. So one more reason to go there. But I saw credits of you singing with Elton John, with Dionne Warwick, Carl Anderson, Ricky Martin, Patti Labelle. Any quick stories, like wonderful memory moments from any of those artists?
I first like Elton John, and that was so early in my career.
Yeah, that was back in 1971. Is that?
I was like
that's accurate.
A kid.
Madman Across the Water. Okay. Main personnel, vocals, background vocals.
Well, you did your research.
Yes, sir. So how did that come about?
You did Google that, because that's not even on my. I think, like I said, that was so. I believe.
Yeah, we were young when that record came out.
I was more with I think he had a choir on those records.
Yeah.
And so I was invited as part of the choir.
Got it.
And thank God I got the credit for being in the group.
How
but
wonderful.
It wasn't like they just called me. I wish they did. And so I was so in awe of the whole process because, again, I was a baby, so to speak, especially in the business.
Yeah.
And that's when I first met a lot of the legendary background singers like the Water family and who is my heart to this day, Alex Brown. So more of those singers I met, and even then, because I was so young, they took me under their wing and it was like taught me studio etiquette.
Right. And people don't know this that are on the outside, but there is a beautiful support system in the singer community.
Yes.
You all lift each other. It's less active in the guitar community. People, my brothers and sisters who play the guitar generally watch out for themselves a little bit more than for each other. But I notice because my wife is a singer and in having friends like you, that you recommend each other. If somebody can't, if you're not available, you find somebody as good or better than yourself to come on in. You don't stress about losing anything because you know that it's not about that. And you lift each other, you guide each other. And I just, so I'm not surprised to hear you say that some of these legendary singers took you under their wing when you were younger, and they weren't that much older than you either, but they were already, they were already deeply entrenched in the recording
Thank
community.
you for saying that, because I'm not saying that they were like, my seniors or anything, but
they're our peers.
They were doing it. I was new to the business.
Exactly. We grew up hearing their music.
Yes. Those were some of my first gigs or dates, but they had been doing it. But yes,
I remember the first time I worked with the Waters on a TV show, and I was beside myself.
Oh yes, right.
Yeah, it was just great.
When I hear things like that, it's like, well, yeah, but what was really going on was like, I can't believe I'm here.
Right.
And working with these people and seeing these artists that I saw on television, mind blowing, really was. Yeah.
Before I get to my closing questions, and I'll give you closing thoughts as well, but is there anything else that you want to cover that we haven't gotten to yet? Anything important to you?
We've covered a lot, so we're
okay. Because we could talk for days. I know that.
There you go.
And
right. The other day, I'm sitting there. Before I know it, it was 3 hours had gone by.
Yeah, we did. We did. Full disclosure, and it was great. It was just such a luxury just to hang out. You drop by the house,
yes,
to drop off your book, and we ended up what we thought would be a little 20-minute just quick visit was just a hang, a great conversation about life and about
life,
everything. And it was really beautiful. Yeah, I really enjoyed it because we don't get to do that often. No. And it's one of the things I love most about doing the show is we have the luxury of hanging out and having a meaningful conversation and sharing it with people and having them involved in the conversation. We're not running to get on stage or to hit a deadline or, we're here. It's old school, luxurious conversation. You break some bread with somebody or you go for a walk and you talk.
And I think that's what's missing in life now that we're in the age. I love this because it does allow us to be in separate places and still come together.
Right.
But the art of just fellowshipping, we're kind of losing. We're always running to something so this is beautiful for me.
So I would encourage everybody, along with some of your suggestions about make space every day, physical space and also internal space for prayer and meditation. Get out in the sun, get your hands in the dirt and garden. and seek out and create meaningful conversations with people in line at Starbucks or at the gas station or
Yes.
at the grocery store, mask on, mask off, doesn't matter. Connect.
Because we are connected,
Right.
and we really are better together
Mm-hmm.
than apart. And it's so basic and so old school, but it's so real
Right.
and that is my, if you will, mission now, to just share love in this world that's kind of lacking it.
You had mentioned this the other day when we were spending time together. You had said, I wrote it down because I'm glad you brought it up. You said the world is lacking love, and your purpose is to write through music and gardening.
And to share
to
love.
create love and share love and
that's
nurture love.
That is what's real, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Love is real, and everything that does not come from a place of love is coming from either our personal egos or not to get all deep and call it selfishness, but when you're loving, you can't be selfish when you're loving someone else or loving what you do, because love will not produce that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're going to plant in each other's lives, sow a seed of love in your work, in your relationships, wherever you are. And that's what I'm praying and want my life to be about. Sowing love, planting seeds of love.
I'm being reminded of this beautiful movie with Chauncey Gardner, who, basically the same thing. He was a gardener, but he was giving advice to the world, talking about planting your seeds and watering it and giving it sunshine and using the same analogies that you are. And that was a fictional and beautiful movie, but this is real. This is life. This is real.
This is it. This is it, and
it's the essence of what we're all doing here.
It really is. And when we lose that insight and that connection with one another, we're separated. It's not, in my opinion, it's not real. It ceased to be what I think we were meant, why we're here. Otherwise, why are we here?
Right.
Why are we here at the same time, if not to be together to create something? Love produces everything.
Right.
My love of gardening, that's what produces the harvest. If I'm planting those seeds, that is one thing I've learned about gardening, though. If you sow a seed of love, you will get love in your life. If you sow jealousy and hatred, sorry, but you're going to get a harvest on that, because that's the seed you sow. So my desire is to sow seeds of understanding, of peace, of love, of compassion for one another, and not the other.
Right. And by the way, that movie is called Being There, and it featured Peter Sellers, and it's a really fantastic movie. Really just wonderful, because very much in alignment with everything that you wrote your book about and what we are speaking about today.
And I watched the movie.
Oh, the HBO movie?
Yes.
If you're not in the obit, eat breakfast.
Oh, gosh.
You saw it?
I saw it. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Really, that just really, it inspired me. And I know it's about growing old gracefully, but it really inspired me not to stop moving.
Right. Dick Van Dyke. Never stop moving. That's what he told me when I worked with him.
That is so true. If we're going to, what was the guy in the beginning, he said, when he's in the bed, in the mornings.
Carl Reiner, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, I'm thinking about everything I have to do today." And I was like, "Oh, whoa, 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 whoa." But as soon as he gets up and starts moving, it's like, "Oh, I can do this.
Right.
This is," and that's so true. You know, if you're just sitting thinking about life and it's passing you by, you'll never get up. But if you're moving and you're going after it, I don't care what age you are, you're going after your dreams and and really just allowing yourself to be the reality of existing and I'm here, letting that be joy enough that I'm here and I'm healthy.
Right.
Or I got my issues, but I'm here.
Right. And you and I are in our 60s. The people in that movie were all in their 90s and older.
Yes.
And having beautiful, active, vibrant lives.
The I would call her a young lady of 100.
Yes.
Jogging or running marathon. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
About anything.
That's fantastic. Thanks. I'm glad you got to see it. It's an HBO movie that I had the privilege of producing. Tony Bennett
The music
and Dick
is
Van
wonderful,
Dyke.
by the way.
Oh,
Thank you for recommending that to
of
me.
course.
Seriously.
And Alan
I love
Bergman
it.
with Dave Gruss, but we were a small part of this incredibly beautiful movie, and it's called "If You're Not in the Obit, Eat Breakfast." HBO. Go watch it if you can. It's
Yes.
pretty magnificent and inspiring.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let me ask you my closing questions, and then any closing thoughts. You're welcome to jump in. Questions that I ask all of my guests is, since this show is called Making It, what does making it mean to you, both personally and professionally?
Wow. Making it is defined in my life as I'm defining it through what I consider success being. And I consider a successful life or business being true to yourself, what you love to do, and it's going to sound funny, not sweating the small stuff and things that aren't really necessary for inner happiness. Success is being true to yourself and knowing that you did the best you can in every situation. Meaning, I loved as deeply as I can love. I've if I'm doing anything, I've done it with great passion to the best of my ability. And I hope if people hear that or see that or read that, then and they walk away a little uplifted and thinking a little more positively about their own lives, then that's success, and I have made it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well said. Thanks, Terry. Can
with
you share?
joy.
Oh yeah, with joy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you share 3 tips for success that have driven your career?
Wow, you are like throwing some great questions at me. Oh, 3. First, foremost, again, be true to who you are. Don't try. You're created as wonderfully and individually as every apple or apple seed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a wealth of information in there, but everything is unique. If you're whoever you are, if you're going to be successful, don't try to be something you're not. Be your authentic self. That's number 1. Number 2, don't give up. Persevere. Life is full of ups and downs. It just really is. I don't care who you are, how much money you have or don't have, you're going to go through the ebbs and flows of life, the ups and downs, the tragedies, the triumphs,
Mm-hmm.
but through it all, keep going. As they said in the movie, keep moving. And number 3, come from a place of love in everything you do. If you really come from a place of love, you won't be disappointed because your initial, the reason why you did it, I can't find my perfect word, but the reasons for doing it isn't selfish. So if you come from a place of love, you won't be disappointed when they say no as far as music is concerned or whatever it is. Um, um, yeah, just come from a true place of love. My third one.
Got it. I'm going to go back and listen to those 3 things again after this show because
And stay forever young. I love that song, but always
Yeah.
keep a child's heart inside.
Mm-hmm.
Never think of yourself as, oh, I'm over and done. Maybe that's my 4th one, or throw that in with the 3rd one.
Great tips. Thanks, Terry. My final question to you is, at this point of your life, with everything that you know to be true, what would you tell your younger self?
Oh, you're going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And you're enough.
Mm.
You are enough, and you're going to be all right.
Mm.
Keep moving. Keep going.
Right. That's fantastic. Well, on that note, and those beautiful closing words, the book is called Where Do We Grow From Here? Here's another look at the cover. You can get it on Amazon or terrysteelemusic.com. Once again, go to both of our Spotify pages today, right now. Don't do anything else. As soon as you finish listening to this, it'll take you 5 minutes and you won't regret it. We'll make it worth your while. But you can hear Terry's beautiful music, my new album that's coming out in a couple of weeks. And I just want to say what a joy it is to be friends with you, but also what a joy to just get to spend this hour and a half with you to talk and to share your perspective in your life. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Terry. It's been
Thank you.
Really
Thank you. This
fantastic.
was a joy and a pleasure for me. It was a gift today. So I thank God for all the gifts, and you are definitely one of them. So thank you.
I feel the same. My absolute pleasure. Can't wait to hear more music from you. I'm going to get some recipes off the air from you as well, and some tips on gardening. And we just want to encourage everybody to stay inspired and stay safe. And we will see you next week. Thank you, Terry. Thanks, Melanie, for joining the show. Thanks to everybody in our live audience and also everybody who streams this show. We appreciate you. See you next week.
Tune in again next week for another great episode of Making It with Terry Woolman.